faithfully delivering value and interpreting the world's best books for you. Hello, this is Sally's Book Talk. Today, I'm going to interpret a book called The Success Law of Barabási for you. This is a book that offers a fresh scientific perspective on success. The author of this book is Albert-László Barabási, who's Hungarian and later studied in the U.S. Barabási is an authority in network science, a fellow of the American Physical Society, a member of the European Academy of Sciences, and a top contender for the Nobel Prize in Physics. Why would a scientist, instead of sticking to academics, start researching success? It all began with a failure he went through. Barabási's team once conducted a study analyzing human responses to major disasters using mobile phone data and wrote a paper they thought was brilliant, but it got rejected by top journals. And this failure made Barabási reflect on why his research, which felt groundbreaking, couldn't achieve success. He figured since folks can accurately predict disasters like hurricanes using big data and prep responses, why can't we predict and create success? So, Barabási started treating success as a scientific puzzle to solve, using scientific tools to analyze it, and finally uncovered the universal laws behind success. This book, The Success Law of Barabási, showcases his research findings.
It compiles the latest research from over 100 world-leading scientists, sociologists, psychologists, and business leaders, backed by tons of data, and for the first time, scientifically reveals the essence of success.
Nassim Nicholas Taleb, author of the bestseller The Black Swan, says that success is a topic with urgent demand. We ought to use the most advanced scientific tools to tackle the randomness and success problem. Next up, I'll break down this book for you into 3 key parts. First, what is success and how does it relate to ability? Second, how should individuals go about achieving success? Third, what elements make a successful team?
Let's kick off with the first part. What is success and its tie to ability?
The author argues that success is the total rewards we get from society, meaning the outside world's feedback on a person's ability display. This feedback comes in many forms, like social recognition, brand visibility, products, sales, income, fan numbers, industry influence, and so on. Therefore, success is defined by society as a whole. It doesn't depend on your actual abilities, but on how others perceive them. The book gives an example. During World War I, there were 2 ace pilots. One was the German pilot Manfred von Richthofen, known as the Red Baron. Over his 3-year flying career, he downed 80 planes, officially the top ace of WW1. The other pilot was Frenchman René Fonck, who officially bagged 75 enemy planes, just behind the Red Baron. If you count unconfirmed kills, Fonck might have downed over 100 planes. Just going by ability, like how many planes they downed, both the Red Baron and Fonck were obviously successful.
But actually, their fame was worlds apart.
There are tons of docs on the Red Baron. He's even in Hollywood flicks. But Fonck's name? Barely anyone knows it. The author thinks the Red Baron got so famous because he matched what German propaganda needed back then, so society loved him. The public built a myth around him, which blew up his success. But Fonck didn't get that same backing in France. Eventually, his war deeds faded into history. Hearing this, some might say, come on, is success only what others think?
If I do something and feel happy, ain't that success?
Truth is, the author defines success by what society gives back. Not because personal joy doesn't matter, but because scientifically, we can't measure how satisfied someone feels inside. Because everyone's got their own definition of success, the author went a different route, defining it by how the outside world reacts.
That way, he could measure success scientifically and uncover the science behind it.
So, does that mean ability is totally useless? Ability sure matters a lot, especially where you can measure it objectively, like in solo sports or school entrance tests. If you're not good at competing or studying, you can't get good results, forget about success. To prove this, the author's team gathered data on all tennis players from 2008 to 2015. their wins, losses, points per match, and used it to predict their visibility, like Wikipedia clicks. Therefore, success is defined by society as a whole. It doesn't depend on your abilities, but on how others perceive them. The book gives an example. During World War I, there were two ace pilots. One was the German pilot Manfred von Richthofen, known as the Red Baron. Over his 3-year flying career, he shot down 80 planes, making him the top ace of W1 with the highest official record. The other pilot was Frenchman René Funk, who officially downed 75 enemy planes, just behind the Red Baron. If you include unconfirmed victories, Funk might have shot down over 100 planes. Just by ability, like the number of planes downed, both the Red Baron and Funk were clearly successful. But in reality, their fame was worlds apart. There are dozens of documentaries about the Red Baron. He's even in Hollywood movies. But Funk's name is barely known. The author believes the Red Baron got so famous because he matched what German propaganda needed back then, so society embraced him. The public built a myth around him, which amplified his success. But Funk didn't get that same backing in France. Eventually, his war deeds faded into history. Hearing this, some might argue, come on, is success only what others see? If I do something and feel happy, ain't that success? Actually, the author defines success by social rewards, not cause inner satisfaction doesn't matter, but cause scientifically we can't measure how fulfilled someone feels. Because everyone's got their own definition of success, the author took another route, defining it by how the outside world reacts. That way he could quantify success scientifically and uncover the science behind it. So, does that mean ability is totally useless? Ability sure matters a lot, especially where performance can be measured objectively, like in solo sports or school entrance exams. If you're not good at competing or studying, you can't get good results. Forget about success. To prove this, the author's team gathered data on all tennis players from 2008 to 2015, their wins, losses, points per match, and used it to predict their visibility, like Wikipedia views. So how can individuals achieve success? That's the second aspect we're going to discuss. Success has two key elements, initial success and social fitness. Let's start with initial success. Initial success means the first social recognition we get, which could just be a good review or small achievement. Initial success brings preferential attachment, meaning those seen as successful attract more success, regardless of actual ability. For example, a realtor with more clients gets more referrals. An actor's performance, if it wins audience cheers, even for a small role, they'll get new roles. As they appear more on screen, directors consider them more. Success snowballs, reproducing itself. This happens because environment shapes judgment. When valuing a product, we focus not on its worth, but others' opinions. Simply put, if something's popular, we assume it's good. If unpopular, we assume it's terrible. Behind preferential concept lies self-fulfilling prophecy.
It means environments can turn false ideas real. Psychologists
at San Francisco's Oak School tested this. All students took a Harvard-acquired change standard IQ test. Then they randomly picked 20% and told teachers these were top performers. Result? In final IQ tests, those students scored much higher. Teachers expected more from the top kids, giving extra encouragement. That encouragement unlocked potential, boosting performance. So under right conditions, making people believe in high value creates success. The commonest method? Listening to others' opinions. On music charts, labeling unpopular songs as peer-liked makes them climb. Peer opinions matter. The deeper reason it's so impactful? It helps us dodge unnecessary dangers and choose safer survival options. Like, if someone eats a toxic mushroom and dies, we won't touch it again. If someone gets mauled by a wild animal, we steer clear next time we see one. Same goes for using pure opinions to judge a book, brand, or someone's skills. So, since initial success is so crucial, how do we get it? The author thinks it can be random. Some folks just get lucky, but it can also be engineered. For instance, we can find successful people connect with him, and ride on their fame. The book gives an example, a game called Exploding Kittens.
Thanks to artist Matthew Inman's design role, it got initial success. His fans became its first backers. Their buzz drew more players, and it raised $2 million on a crowdfunding site in just 12 days.
Besides, we can wait for opportunities to pop up through steady growth over time. Preferential attachment. The first Harry Potter book was seen as trash by publishers. After over a dozen rejections, it finally got published in the UK in June 1997. In September 1998, the US edition dropped, but media still ignored it. Only a year later, when it hit the New York Times bestseller list, did people notice. The rest is history. Harry Potter blew up, and Rowling became Britain's most famous modern writer. Some think Harry Potter's success was just Rowling's good luck. But this book's author argues Rowling's success actually proves preferential attachment works. The first Harry Potter had a tiny print run of just 500 copies. 300 went to libraries for free. It started super low, but the great content slowly built an initial fan base. Their rave reviews drew more and more attention. All right, that wraps up the first element of success, initial success. Next up, let's dive into the second element, social fitness. Social fitness, simply put, is a unique intrinsic quality. It's the inherent ability that makes a product stand out among competitors. For example, for a search engine, its social fitness is shown in helping users find what they need faster. But high social fitness doesn't entirely equal high quality. For instance, no one would consider 50 Shades of Grey a high-quality novel, but we can't deny that this series has very high social fitness, winning in competition with other literary works. IX16. Social fitness and initial success complement each other. If two products have the same social fitness, meaning similar quality, the one that appears earlier still has an advantage. If two products have different social fitness, the one with higher social fitness will get more connections, thus having a better chance of success. For example, two computers with the same cost-performance ratio. Older brands are usually more popular than new ones because preferential attachment gives them more exposure opportunities. But if this new brand's computer can improve its cost-performance ratio, it'll win better word of mouth, thus attracting more users. In other words, short-term success for a person or product relies on social fitness and initial success, while long-term success is solely determined by social fitness. Given enough time, the best things will eventually stand out. So, how should we increase social fitness and achieve success? The author's answer is diligence plus skill. Let's start with diligence. The author believes success can happen at any time and age as long as you persistently pursue a good idea. Let's take scientists as an example. Research shows that most of a scientist's research outputs appear in the first 20 years of their career in the field. That's the career in the subject for that person. During these 20 years, 13% of scientists publish their most influential research, but after the 20th year, this probability drops rapidly. And by the 25th year, this probability is only 5%. And by the 30th year, it might be less than 1%. But this isn't because people are more creative when young. It's because in the first 20 years of their careers, scientists have more passion for their work. Back then, they're eager to make achievements in a field, so they invest more passion and time, leading to more research output and thus greater chances of success. But as long as you keep your passion for research alive and keep trying, age isn't a barrier to success. Nobel chemistry laureate John Fenn is a perfect example. He didn't publish his first paper until 32, didn't get his first teaching position until 35 when he joined Princeton University to study atoms and molecules. After 15 years of hard work, Fenn became a Yale professor at 50. His influence there wasn't high, and many thought this unremarkable old man should be forced to retire at 70, but he never gave up. At 67, he proposed a breakthrough technology and chose to leave Yale for Virginia Commonwealth University. There, he rebuilt his lab and continued his research. In 2002, at 85, Fenn won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry. This story shows success can happen at any age if you work hard enough. Now, some might wonder, why do some people keep trying but never succeed? That's because boosting social fitness requires not just diligence but skill too. The book mentions two skills: finding the right career direction and embracing change to innovate constantly. Let's start with finding the right career direction. Specifically, it means finding work that aligns your abilities with your dreams. Many dreamers fail because they lack the ability to turn ideas into reality. The author calls this the Q factor, which depends on innate talent. If your skills in a field are low, no matter how passionate or hardworking you are, you're just pushing in the wrong direction. For instance, in high school, the author wanted to be a sculptor, but discovered he was better at physics, so he followed his Q factor into science instead. You gotta stay sharp and aware to discover your talent and boost your social fitness. The second skill is embracing change and constant innovation. For lasting success, you must embrace society's changes and uncertainties, choosing new ideas repeatedly to keep producing high-quality results.
Successful people never stop. Even after achievements, they still tackle new challenges.
For instance, the Japanese artist Katsushika Hokusai started painting at 19 and created 35,000 works in his lifetime. American Life magazine once listed him among the world's top 100 figures. Although he painted countless masterpieces, Hokusai spent his whole life seeking breakthroughs. At 74, he regretfully said that he felt his paintings before 70 weren't worth mentioning. Only at 73 did he kind of grasp nature's structure. He still had to push on to paint something remarkable by 100. All right, that's the gist of part 2. Short-term success comes from initial success and social fitness working together. But long-term success hinges on social fitness, meaning making stuff that's genuinely better than others. In the real world, going solo ain't enough for success. You need a team's strength. Next up, let's dive into the book's third aspect. What elements make a successful team? The author thinks a successful team needs 3 things. First, diversity and balance. Second, having a super leader. Third, a solid communication setup. Let's kick off with the first element, diversity and balance. Hungarian sociologist Balázs Vedras once did a study on jazz history's development. He gathered over 100,000 published performance records from 1890 to 2010 and tallied album sales, finding that the more diverse the core team, the more successful it gets. Successful teams create unique works. And this uniqueness often stems from member diversity, like the classic jazz album, Kind of Blue. In 1959, jazz master Miles Davis handpicked 5 musicians to record that album. These 5 musicians specialized in different areas: bass, drums, piano, trumpet, and saxophone. Under Davis's guidance, this group created a one-of-a-kind musical style. In the end, this album became the most enduring jazz album ever, reissued over 100 times.
Plus, member diversity helps a team better balance tradition and innovation.
For example, to make a hit musical, you need both traditional and fresh elements. Gotta be exciting, but not too weird for the audience. This requires the team to have people familiar with traditional styles and those bold enough to innovate. Of course, diversity alone isn't enough. Stable collaborative relationships are equally crucial, as they balance issues from team diversity. Only with some trust among team members can different individuals cooperate seamlessly. When others voice differing opinions, there won't be lingering resentment.
This requires some team members to share common experiences or have close working relationships.
For example, a team should ideally combine veterans and newcomers, or mix friends and strangers. Diversity and balance create the optimal formula for team success. But to unleash this combination's power, you need a leader, That's the second element of successful teams. A super leader. The more a team is dominated by one leader, the more successful it becomes. This leader might even be somewhat autocratic. More leaders mean less team success. A classic example is the too many chiefs effect. Duke University had a famous case. In the late 1980s, Duke wanted to create the world's best English department, hiring all literary giants, but conflicting visions led to chaos in the teaching system. Professors' philosophies clashed, and course designs were completely incompatible. Eventually, many excellent professors left Duke. When too many capable, opinionated people are in one team with no clear leader, endless arguments and mutual sabotage hinder success. The third element is a robust communication mechanism. Carnegie Mellon professor Anita Williams-Woolley conducted a study on collective intelligence. In the study, trios of strangers completed simple tasks: playing checkers on consoles, listing brick uses, or planning grocery trips. Results showed team performance depended not on IQ or willpower, but on how participants communicated. Teams where members understood each other's emotions, discussed openly, and listened to others performed best. To achieve good communication, face-to-face interaction among team members is vital. This interaction doesn't need to be formal. Casual chats during downtime or after work gatherings work just fine. An MIT researcher conducted a 6-week experiment at a bank's call center. During the trial, he encouraged agents to chat casually and recorded their chat frequency. The result? This seemingly time-wasting chit-chat boosted efficiency. Average call handling time dropped 8%, and the bank gained about $15 million in a year. That's because face-to-face communication builds rapport among members, sparking more creativity. But team members beware. Team success doesn't guarantee personal success, since credit rarely gets shared equally. It often goes to just a few. Chinese computer scientist Hua Wei developed an algorithm predicting Nobel laureates from top scientists. Highly accurate, its mechanism was simple. Analyzing how much peer attention a scientist gets predicts Nobel wins. Though many contribute to the honor, credit usually goes to whoever gets the most peer attention. Others' perceptions are decisive. The author shares, as a teacher involved in postdoc's papers, they'd list him as co-author. In theory, that's fine, but it actually hurt the postdocs, because whenever people saw the professor's name, they wrongly gave him most credit, overlooking students' contributions. This reminds us collaboration has risks too. In academia, careers, or when starting out, joining a strong team is smart. It's a solid choice, learn from the best, and boost your resume. But if you stay in someone's shadow and don't highlight your contributions, you'll likely be overlooked. Understanding how society distributes rewards and how individuals can succeed in teams, it actually reminds us to think strategically about how to earn our own reputation and not let our efforts go to waste. The book gives an example. The famous African-American singer Darlene Love often sang backup for popular bands early on. Although her voice frequently appeared in hit songs, no one knew it was hers. Love decided to change her career path. No matter what, she would become a solo singer. First, she managed to book a performance of an old song on a famous show, scoring a rare spotlight. Her singing talent made the song popular again. To boost her fame, she did cameos in movies, sang with top artists, and released solo albums. Finally, she stood center stage, becoming the star attraction. At nearly 70, Darlene was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This story tells us, to be a band's lead singer, you can't stay backup forever. You need to quickly tie every achievement directly to yourself to kickstart preferential attachment and build your own legacy. With that, we've pretty much covered Barabási's success law. Let me summarize the book's key point for you. Success is defined by society as a whole. Your ability matters, but how others perceive your ability matters even more. Understanding the scientific laws of success, we no longer need to beg Lady Luck for favors. Instead, we can work with purpose. Remember, given enough time, the best things will eventually stand out. All right, Barabási's Success Law. That's the interpretation of this book for you. The reading notes are below the audio, and we'll see you next time.